Throughout history, democracies have risen with promise, but the fall is never far behind. How does democracy fail? Is this the moment when democracy fails? Was this the beginning of the end of the American dream? On this night, people supporting Hillary Clinton were hopeful. In fact, they already thought they'd won.
I am betting that tomorrow you will reject fear and you'll choose hope. I'm betting that the wisdom and decency and generosity of the American people will once again win the day. And that is a bet that I have never, ever lost.
Donald Trump will carry the state of North Carolina.
And that is huge for Donald Trump. This is exactly what he needed to do.
Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida, state of Wisconsin. He will win Wisconsin. Trump doing very well in Pennsylvania right now. There's a cliffhanger going on here in Michigan. 56% of the vote is in. Look at how close it is. Right now, Donald Trump is ahead.
It's completely flipped now.
Everybody should head home. You should get some sleep. We're not going to have anything more to say tonight.
Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States, winning the most unreal, surreal election we have ever seen.
While Trump seemed quite happy, many of his supporters in the stage seemed shocked. He didn't even have a speech ready because he didn't think he was going to win. We'd entered the era of Donald Trump as President of the United States, but things would change in 4 years.
After 4 long, tense days, we've reached a historic moment in this election. We can now project the winner of the presidential race.
Former Vice President Joe Biden has been elected President of the United States. This map is a real interesting one, not necessarily the path that anyone thought would have unfolded, but here we are.
Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States, has vowed not to concede at this point. Legal challenges will ensue over the course of Monday and beyond. We will see what happens.
One of the reasons I have a high degree of confidence that the election was not stolen by fraud was because when you actually look at the votes, there's no mystery as to why he lost in 2020. The problem all along was that his way of going about energizing his base drove away a lot of suburban professionals. That's where the fatal gap was for him. It was in the suburbs. So it's no mystery as to why he lost.
Are you a good loser?
I'm not a good loser. I don't like to lose. I don't lose too often.
And while many celebrated, many were fuming. And the toxic idea of a rigged election began to spread.
We can't allow America to turn into a socialist, communist nation.
Democracy was barely saved. It almost fell down in 4 years.
We won this stage of the battle, but it's not enough. It's not enough to prevent a fascist America.
It's not going to stand. You're going to have people on the street. You're going to have civil unrest. You're going to have civil war.
Many more were outside buildings where votes were being counted, and they were trying to stop the count.
I think the mail-in ballots are ridiculous. If you can be this close to people, you can vote in person. The liberals are saying that there's no way an election could be rigged. There's no way it's unfair. They're the ones who didn't accept the election results when Trump won 4 years ago. And then I think we're going to become a socialist country and we're going to end up like Venezuela.
And on the day that the election was to be declared in Congress, Donald Trump sends out a tweet. The vice president has the power to reject fraudulently chosen electors.
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Is this where democracy fails?
Justice is coming, baby! Freedom! the vice president. He'd been evacuated off the Senate floor at that point. The Secret Service told the vice president that we have a clear window to escape right now. The vice president said, "You're not understanding. I'm not leaving the Capitol. We're going to stay here."
And instead of calming down the situation, Donald Trump doubled down. Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country.
This is our capital. Let's be respectful to him. There's a lot of control. We love you guys.
God, we thank you. In Christ's holy name we pray.
Oh my God.
Here's a gun! Here's a gun! Here's a gun!
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election.
The violence was quelled, and the people's work continues. The elected representatives of the people of the United States have assembled again on the very same day to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Let's get back to work.
And yet, despite all that chaos, it's starting all over again.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Twice we've been here before. Moments of hope, moments of turmoil, and moments where history seems to take a turn, not for progress, but for peril.
And I said, when fascism comes to America, it will not be wearing jackboots and brown shirts, and it will be wearing Nike sneakers, and it will have smiley face buttons on the Hard Rock.
And carry the flag.
Yeah, oh, of course.
And the Bible.
Always that.
As George Carlin just put it, history doesn't repeat itself, but there are definite patterns. Did you know Hitler attempted a coup? And that he was arrested for it, taken to court? That in Germany there were robust laws against hate speech. He even spent time in jail, and yet he managed to rise to the top. He was elected by the people to represent them. Despite not holding a majority of the parliament, he was invited to lead government. And when the president of Germany died, the people voted him in again, creating a new position, which you may know today as the Führer. And even during Hitler's time in power as the Führer, they were still holding elections. Yet 15 years before Hitler came to power, the Weimar Republic stood out as a beacon of progressive democracy in the post-World War I era. They were the first country to have universal healthcare for all citizens. It wasn't unusual for towns and cities to have up to a dozen daily newspapers. Both men and women over the age of 20 were allowed to vote. Their constitution was based in part on the American Constitution, and they took elements of Congress and the United Kingdom's Parliament, establishing a strong free press. They made some of the best movies of the era. They were considered the standard bearers of democracy, and yet within 15 years, it had all gone. A politically inexperienced Austrian immigrant managed to convince Germans that all their problems were down to migrants and the Jews. He rose as an outsider, positioning himself as the voice of the disillusioned. His speeches resonated with the public. He was loved by women, and he was called uncle by children. He demonized his opponents, the communists and the Jews, but also the media. He bypassed the media by using new technology such as radio and newsreels and cinema. And he offered clear, albeit radical, solutions to complex problems, drawing crowds with promises of straightforward fixes. And at the time, many politicians felt they could control Hitler.
Might I suggest we put him in a position where we can control him?
What position did you have in mind?
Vice-Chancellor?
Even newspapers didn't realise what they were fully dealing with, and were trying to calm down tensions. Now that the Nazis are in power, we don't believe that Hitler and his friends will do all the things that they promised. They won't suddenly take away the constitutional rights of German Jews. They won't lock us up in race ghettos or unleash the murderous mobs on us. They can't do these things because the Constitution won't let them. Even American newspapers like the New York Times fell hook, line and sinker for Hitler's lies.
As did kings and leading politicians.
Back then, the world underestimated Hitler, seeing him as someone who could be controlled and influenced. Today, we observe a similar pattern where signs of democratic backsliding are often overlooked, dismissed as political theatre or rhetoric. Are we repeating history by ignoring these signs? There are steps to take in order to take a democracy into a dictatorship based on modern and historical parallels. Step 1 is to galvanise a base, but also leverage that base to start attacking their economic problems on others.
These are killers. These are people at the highest level of killing that cut your throat and they won't even think about it the next morning. A lot of gang members, they take their gangs off the street. Like in Caracas, Venezuela, the criminals have all been brought to the United States. She let our American sons and daughters be raped and murdered at the hands of vicious monsters. She let American communities be conquered. They're conquering your communities.
Step 2 is an erosion of public trust. Nazi propaganda would usually delegitimize democracy and the press.
Attacking our news organization. Can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are attacking our news organization. Can you give us a chance to ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir,
you are fake news.
The media has been unbelievably dishonest.
The most dishonest groups of people I've ever met. But I'd never kill them. I would never do that. That's sick. No, I wouldn't.
Wait, let's see. I want to find a friendly reporter.
We are in a rigged system, and a big part of the rigging are these dishonest people in the media.
Step 3 would be the creation of a common enemy. Hitler would focus on communist and Jewish communities as well as migrants and the work-shy.
We are getting less and less and less powerful in terms of a religion and in terms of a force.
These Latinos, they love making babies too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no... They don't do that. They just like they did to our country. There's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Radio host Sid Rosenberg on Hillary Clinton.
What a sick son of a...
Many targeting Harris.
Her and her pimp handlers will destroy our country.
Trump friend David Rem calling her the devil.
She is the Antichrist.
Tucker Carlson also attacking the vice president, who is Indian American and black.
The first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor ever to be elected president.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing it.
You've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people would sit there and... No, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. Okay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians. I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is
did
that...
you just say I should die?
You should not...
No, did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. No, I did not say that.
Hold on. Did your guest just say I should be killed? On live TV.
I said I hope you're...
Guys, let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you said I'm a big supporter
of the Palestinians.
Hamas?
Guys, let me stop.
Palestinian. Are you?
Am I what? No, of course I'm not. Are you a racist, violent person inciting violence against me?
Ryan, that's disgusting. That is...
Step 4 were emergency powers and legal manipulation. This could be in the form of waiting for an event to happen and then manipulating it to your advantage like the Nazis did with the Reichstag fire. It could also be winding up a crowd and launching it at your Congress.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
And that links in to step 5, the suppression of opposition. Historically, the Nazis outlawed parties and imprisoned opponents. The modern interpretation could have been January 6th and attempts to undermine the election certification. Or he could just go the whole hog and set up camps.
Ban urban camping wherever possible. Violators of these bans will be arrested, but they will be given the option to accept treatment and services if they're willing to be rehabilitated. Many of them don't want that, but we'll give them the option. We will then open up large parcels of inexpensive land, bring in doctors, psychiatrists, social workers, and drug rehab specialists, and create 10 cities where the homeless can be relocated and their problems identified.
Hitler's camps started off in a very similar fashion. And step 6 is the consolidation of power. For Hitler, that was merging the position of Chancellor and President, which became known as the Führer, and demanding pledges of allegiance to Hitler.
Everybody here, who likes me in this room? Okay, I've never done this before. Can I have a pledge, a swearing? Raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I, no matter how I feel, no matter what the conditions, if there's hurricanes or whatever, that's good enough, will vote on or before the 12th for Donald J. Trump for president. Thank you. Now I know.
Ich schwöre Adolf Hitler. Unverbrüchliche Treue. Unverbrüchliche Treue.
We shall establish, beyond the realm of doubt, facts which, before the dark decade of the Third Reich, would have seemed incredible.
I had a defendant who killed 90,000 Jews, and I asked him, why did you do that? And he said, Hitler knew more than I did, and he told me the Jews were planning to attack as a matter of self-defense, to defend ourselves against that attack. Now, that was the same argument being made by the President of the United States. We're doing something for which I hanged this man.
And it's not as if this position is new. Democracies have fallen in the past, repeatedly. Rome's transition from republic to empire teaches us populist leaders can use division and public discontent to dismantle democratic institutions. Caesar's rise marked the end of the republic and the beginning of imperial rule, in part because democratic checks had failed and faltered. The promise of liberty, equality, and fraternity were overshadowed by the rise of Emperor Napoleon, who promised stability over freedom. And even into the more modern era, we can look at the rise of Vladimir Putin. From Russia's second hopeful experiment with democracy to the era that was marked by the rise of oligarchs on authoritarian control, Russia's slide is a contemporary example of backsliding.
There is no Republican Party. There's a Trump Party.
4 years, 8 years, or as you know, FDR, in one case, 16 years. Should we go back to 16 years? Should we do that, Congressman? Can we have that extended?
She is a great gentleman. He's now president-elect. President-elect. No, he's great. He was able to do that. I think it's great. Maybe we'll have to give that a shot someday.
President Trump offering his congratulations to Turkey's President Erdogan for winning a referendum that grants him sweeping new powers.
The problem is not that Putin is smart, which of course he's smart, but the real problem is that our leaders are dumb. Dumb. So dumb. I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today. And what he did is an incredible offer. He offered to have the people working on the case come and work with their investigators with respect to the 12 people. I think that's an incredible offer.
Tonight, the president's own intelligence chief, Dan Coats, shot back with a rare rebuke. We have been clear in our assessment of Russian meddling in the 2016 election.
And I thought that there was nothing that Donald Trump could say that would shock me, but I was wrong.
Forget that this is even Trump, by the way. The fact that this is an American president, I believe you, Vladimir Putin, is absolutely unbelievable.
But despite everything I've shown you in this video, people still think this.
Half of all Republicans in a poll said they would agree to postpone the 2020 election if President Trump asked them to.
52% of Republicans would support postponing the 2020 election if Trump proposed it. And he hasn't even proposed it.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
Last week, ICE agents fanned out in raids like this one in every state.
Ripping children away from their families under this new policy.
¿De dónde son ustedes? ¿Y tú? Guatemala. No llores. Vas a llegar con... Mira, ella te va a explicar y te va a ayudar.
Taking babies away from their mother and locking up one or the other and separating them because they didn't do harm to anybody. They just didn't comply with the stupid regulations. That's a crime against humanity, in my judgment. The Statue of Liberty stands there, you know, send me, you're tired, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Where? We don't see it in this country, and it pains me. And that's the world in which we live. And we've got to change it or perish.
When I see this man being platformed, despite all the evidence I provided you, it says people need to wake up. When I see Americans being given Hitler quotes in the form of a Donald Trump leaflet and they still support him, I say it's time to wake up.
I do not see why man should not be as cruel as nature. Well, why do you think he comes up with that?
Well, man is the cruelest animal.
Great liars are also great magicians. Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I think that, you know, he's going to lie in any way, probably to, like, support the country, to keep the country going. Good. There'll be good lies, you know?
So you support everything that he's kind of said in this pamphlet here and in these quotes, right?
Of course. Yeah. I'm a Trump fan.
Because Trump,
you know?
Because Trump said it.
Then the truth is revealed.
I'd say you're lying to me.
Well, they are, though. They're quotes from Hitler.
You made this pamphlet? Did that? Oh, my God. I'm definitely not down with racism.
So do you still support Trump?
Yeah, but I don't support Hitler.
Well, but you support these quotes, though, right?
Well, if Donald Trump said him, I'd support him.
Democracy isn't just given, it's earned, it's protected, and it has to be defended.
People of modest means continue to elect these rich suckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Yeah. You know? And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on. The fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
To all my American friends out there, your one hope is to vote. Once again, thank you to all my supporters, my patrons, and my YouTube members. If you'd like to become one as a result of getting to the end of the video, I think it's more likely, please look at the links in the description and definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Once again, thanks for listening. Bye for now.